What is stacking? What does stacking actually look like when I refer to it, or if you see it on my Instagram live, or you see me talk about it, or you see me reference it inside some of our programs? Like, what is stacking? What does this actually mean? What does this actually look like? Stacking is a tool that I've used for several years now, and we've integrated into some of the challenges, some of the programs that we have, that actually helps people rewire their mindset, rewire the story that they would believe, rewire what's actually going on inside their mind. You see, when you're with a toxic person over a period of time, you start to believe a fantasy that this person cares about you, that this person loves you. Start to believe a fantasy that maybe he'll work out. Maybe it'll become the way that you actually want it. Maybe it'll turn out the way that it used to be at the original part of the relationship. And this process of stacking, we started to develop in the Clarity Challenge of teaching and helping people to understand how to be able to change their mindset, to be able to help them change how they were actually thinking about a certain situation, and getting them really clear about the facts of the situation and on anything else. And so, as we did this, we started to embrace it and show people how this process worked. We started to see lots of transformation. Now, I was already seeing this in my life because I'd been stacking already for a year or two when I was making this challenges and things like that. And so we recently had the opportunity with the Clarity Challenge to actually attach the app that we use that has the stacking software. So when people sign up for the Clarity Challenge, they actually get access to the stacking process. Okay. And so, like, there's a huge piece that I want to talk to you about stacking. We don't have a lot of time, so we're going to move through. I have no clue what pegging is, and so it just sounds weird when you're putting that in the chat. So I have no clue what you're talking about. So stacking, first off, I'm going to teach you the framework really quick. Stacking is the first aspect of being able to say, hey, I'm going to stop what I'm thinking, what I'm doing, and I'm going to pause for a moment. Okay, this is to have you pause and understand that what you might be thinking or experiencing or feeling might not actually be true. Like, if I would have done something different, he might not have left me. If I would have given him more sex, then he wouldn't have cheated on me. If I'd have been a better person, then he might have loved me. So it's just taking a moment saying, hey, stop for a second and just acknowledge that what you're thinking in this moment might not actually be true. Like, it might not be the process for you. Okay. Of like understanding this might be something that is actually a story that you're telling yourself. Okay. And then we move into the other piece, which is talking about the facts. And what this is you first stop and understand that you might be in the wrong piece of reality. And the second thing is to submit to the facts. Now, the facts are what is actually helping you guide and direct you by saying, hey, it doesn't matter about your truth. It doesn't matter about his truth, my truth, anyone else. What matters is the facts. What is the evidence? What has been demonstrated in the relationship, out of the relationship? What has this person said? Doesn't matter. What has been shown and what has been demonstrated is what's actually real, what's actually there. So we're going to deal only with the facts. So the first is we stop and we admit, hey, what we're thinking, what we're believing might not be actually true. Second thing is to submit to the facts of the situation, not anyone's truth, but the actual facts of the situation. The third one is then to struggle. Now, when we talk about this struggle, we're then comparing the facts and we're comparing the story, the thing that you're believing about the narcissist, about yourself, about the situation, and to be able to understand, hey, like, through this situation, what is actually true? What is actually real? Because otherwise, you'll start to believe a fantasy. You'll start to believe an alternate reality. You start to believe the lies from the narcissist. You start to believe the toxic side of what he's saying to you, even if you're in or out of the relationship. Okay. So this happens so many times, and you need to be able to understand that you have to struggle with it to get clear about the truth of the situation. The truth is the only thing that's actually going to set you free. Then we have to move into a place where you make a decision to actually believe the story based on the facts, not based on your truth. It sounds complicated because this whole process is hard to be able to rewire your mindset. It's a lot easier just to say, hey, we're going to rewire the mindset. It's a lot easier just to be like, okay, we'll make this happen. It's a lot harder to do. This is why we break it down inside the Clarity Challenge so you can actually understand the step-by-step process of how to be able to work through this. because you have to be able to understand, wait a second, the thought that I'm thinking might not be 100% true. It might be imposed upon me from the narcissistic person. It might be something that I was brought up with because of my education, my religion, my parents, like previous partners, all these things. I have to stop and understand that might not be true. And then we have to take a look of like, okay, what do the facts actually say? How do they actually match up to my situation? What is the evidence? What did he demonstrate? What was actually shown? What is the evidence that I have about what he did or didn't do? And then we struggle with that, go back and forth. What do I believe? Do I believe it based on the facts, or do I believe based on the story? And back and forth. And then you get to the place where you're like, okay, now I actually know what the facts are. I might not want to believe them because it's not easy. I might not want to experience them because it's uncomfortable, but I need to make a story based on the facts. Okay. If you all are following me, like I want you guys to understand this process works, and we've seen this process work consistently in people's lives, but it needs to be done consistently. Like you have to be able to show up on a day-to-day basis saying, hey, this is what I'm going to do to help me grow, change, and develop. And it has to be by rewiring your mindset. That's what we focus on. I finally broke it off with my narcissist, but I'm thinking maybe it will get better later. Time won't heal your wounds. Let's just be honest and put it out there. Time will not heal your wounds. There is people that have been away from a narcissist for 5 months, for 6 months, for 5 years, and still have a trauma bond, and are still trapped mentally, emotionally in the relationship. Time will not heal those wounds. What will heal that is helping you rewire the mindset. It's the only thing we've seen consistently, because otherwise you will start the cycle all over again. You will go back to this person. It will happen back and forth, back and forth. How many of you, type in me in the chat if this is you, how many of you have been stuck in a cycle and you recognize this? You're like, when I look on my life, I can see a cycle of these types of toxic relationships. Where I was with an overt, now I'm with a covert. Where I was with a narcissist, now I'm with a narcissist. I was with an abuser, now I'm with a different abuser. But like, type in me in the chat if that's you. Of like, this has been a cycle that you have seen in your life. Several of you have typed these in of like understanding like, hey, I recognize this. I see that there's actually a cycle. What I'll have you understand is by doing the same stuff, you're going to just repeat the cycle. So like there has to be something different that actually comes into your life for you to break the cycle. Otherwise, it will continue to perpetuate because it is what you are used to. You are used to toxicity, which is why you don't think you're worth anything. You are used to toxicity, which is why you don't heal, grow, and change, because you move into the next relationship thinking that it will fix you, but it won't. This cycle is something that will continue on over and over and over again until you stop the cycle, till you take a look at the facts, till you struggle with that to see what do the facts actually show versus what I'm believing and acting upon. And then you make a move to understand you have to believe and go off the facts. This cycle will continue to happen. How did I break my cycle? Going through the challenge. Not the specific one that we have, Clarity Challenge. I went through one that I run a lot of guys through, which is the Wake Up Warrior Challenge. Confronted me on my lies, and it introduced me into this aspect of stacking. Done over 1,000 stacks to be able to help change my mindset. That is where people see like, oh, you've grown so much. Yeah, because I've done the work. You've changed so much. Yeah, because I've done the work. Because it takes a lot of work. It's the same amount of work that comes into your healing to help you rewire the mindset, to change the mindset so that you ultimately can be free from the toxicity, to grow, change, and develop to become the person that you're called to be. You can stop thinking about them. You can break out of the rumination. You can get rid of the cycle. You can get out of the trauma bond. You can beat the intrusive thoughts. You can work through this by giving you the tools and understanding if you use these tools, you will be free. But you have to show up consistently. This is what we do inside of the Clarity Challenge, now backed with the Warrior app that we actually use, where you can access the stacking program inside the Clarity Challenge every single day. This is stuff that you take this, you send this to your therapist, and they'll be like, whoa, this is deep, because it makes you start to work on you. Not me saving you, not another person holding your hand, but saying, hey, we will support you in this, and these are the tools. These are the way for you to continue to move forward by stopping and understanding, hey, the current thought you're thinking might not be true. By understanding, hey, I have to submit to the facts of the situation, not my truth or anybody else's truth. I have to struggle with the facts. I have to struggle with the story that I'm believing to come to a conclusion and make an action that says, hey, I am going to believe the facts, not the story I want to tell myself.